KDB. Is fire.
Beats Planet.
Yeah, buddy. Let me tell y'all something, man. Let me just say something to y'all, man. First of all, we need some more cowboy content creators that watch offense. You know what I mean? Because I seem to be the only film guy. I seem to be the only film guy that really cares about offense like that. You know what I mean? Like I tweeted earlier. I don't know if you saw it because you were a busy man, but I retweeted this CD Lamb catch or whatever. I was like, hey, look, don't forget Law Nation, Fuster King, Akoye Media, Big Game Jack. They all wanted Chase on and Xavier McKinney. Yeah. I was the only one trying to lead y'all to the promised land. You know what I'm talking about? But we have so much ambiguity with defense. I say, let me reach out to Brother Akoye because I know he's film guy and I know he gets super nuanced with his details. And I like nuance, you like details. So when those two come together, you get a little bit of magic. So I wanted to talk a little defense with you today, sir. What's happening?
What's good, man? I appreciate you having me on, man. Trying to prepare for. I got a fight. Preparing for a fight, as I told you a minute ago. So been away for a second, but I'm enjoying the hiatus, getting my mind clear. Y'all got some good breakdowns coming to you. But like I said before, y'all ain't missing shit because all my team holding it down. Shout out to Voch, Law Nation, Foster King, Sean go out there, Mark Holmes, all y'all, man. I appreciate it because y'all give me something to do when I'm not doing what my other love, which is football. When I'm engaged in some boxing or some family shit, man, I'm still engaged because y'all doing y'all thing.
That's big facts, man. Big facts. September 13th, right around the corner. I'm not gonna sugarcoat this, man. The people been waiting on this because Voch never talked defense. We gonna have you on to talk some defense. Let's run it. I got some questions written down, sir. And I know you're going to attack these questions with the proper detail. So that's why I came to you, sir.
I like trivia. I like trivia. Put me on the spot.
Of course you do. Of course you do. First question, though. This ain't really necessarily defense by itself, but I do know you have an interesting perspective on it. How many games do we win only based on Mike McCarthy's secrecy? So we know training camp, we're not getting as much access as we normally do, And I was talking to some people earlier, football is a game of inches for real in every facet. Every facet to where Bill Belichick wants to spy on the Bengals. You know what I mean? So you looking for any small advantage you looking for because all the teams are so close together. So we get the blue-white Cowboy broadcast showcase. Right? We get that mess. Not a scrimmage, but the showcase. We want to hide the numbers. We zooming in on the players. We get nothing. How many games do you think that accounts for, sir? How many wins does that account for?
It's a good question because if you remember back in I think 2001, 2000, somewhere in there, they did it twice. I think it was the Vikings. The Vikings, when they had Randall, they had went like 6-0 2 years in a row, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. But and the Falcons had done it too. The reason I say that is like a lot of teams come out that they come out strong as hell in the first quarter of the season, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's because, just like young quarterbacks, it's the same theory. When teams can't really scheme you, they can't really scheme your tendencies, they can't get that edge that they need, it might take them 4 or 5 weeks to adjust to what you're doing. So you could very well steal 3 to 4 games in the beginning of the season doing that, and be able to carry some of your traits, some of the things you're working on to the playoffs. Like you can install some of that stuff as you go too, if there's some subterfuge kept. So I respect what McCarthy's doing because, especially as a boxing coach, man, you don't want the next guy to know what you're doing. I don't even call out punches.
Sure.
I won't say, hey, throw a 1-2-1 or a 2-3, because I know now the guy in the ring knows that a 2-3 is coming. See? So I don't want to set my guy up for a counter after that. So it's the same thing, same concept. Like, that little bit of thought creates hesitation in the opposition, no matter what they're doing, whether you're playing football, shooting, playing basketball, boxing. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you have your guy thinking instead of just acting and off of instinct, you already have the edge.
Because you know what? This is the most ambiguous we've ever gone into a season. Like, normally we know something. We know a little bit of something. I don't know where none of
exciting though.
It's exciting. It's exciting. Look, I hate it because I'm a content creator and I'm missing a gang of views right now. But what
I feel you on that though.
But what made me say like wins and losses though, right? Like it may take another team, like if they playing us or whatever, it may take the league 7 games to catch up to us and really figure out what we doing. Right. And it be them games, them first 7 ones that come back and bite you in the ass at the end of the season. So if we can be secretive and ambitious and ambiguous for that first 7 games, go ahead.
And it's not just that though. You gotta think about it. Like, you build off of that. You build off of those combinations. The reason we weren't getting opportunities to build off of anything is because they knew, like, okay. Again, a boxing analogy that show you where my head is engaged right now.
Right.
But you install your jab not because you're going to land the jab all night. You'll install the jab in the first round, the first quarter of the fight, because everything else is going to build off of that. All your other combinations are going to come off of that effort that you put in there. So it's not just teams will take 7 weeks to catch up to us.
Sure.
By the time they're starting to catch up, we're already aware of what the counter to what we're doing is. So when they attempt those counters, we have counters for that because it's taking them so long to even catch on to what we're doing in the first place. It's like certain angles, certain positions, technique wise, certain positions you get a guy in, it doesn't matter if he's better than you or not. If he lets you get a certain place, it's a wrap. Sure. He knows that, unless he just has ungodly leverage or athleticism that you just can't do nothing with. But those are rare. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So when you get them when we get them in certain positions, we'll know what the counter to those to our scheme is, because we're playing ourselves all the time. So we know what our defense is doing to try to stop us. So we can kind of anticipate what teams are going to have to do to try to stop us moving forward. And I think that's offense and defensively. And then really, I think the edge is more so defense than anything else. Mm-hmm. Even though we were vanilla on both sides of the ball for years now, I really think defensively is where it's going to help us even more, because you have some things moving around. You have people who are in different places playing different positions, like Jalen, so on. You have a new scheme. You have new, a new look secondary. You got some young guys out there that are playing too. So you got an LVE who's coming off of a neck injury, who needs all of the leverage and all of the edge he can get. So helping guys like that not have to deal with certain things due to some like I said, some secrecy. That's love. I think that's going to help the defense and help us hit people in the mouth without them seeing us too.
Let me ask you a question, sir. Let me get into my first defensive question, and you might as well be Segway Jones over there. Let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
So we got strong side and weak side. In defensive theory, offensive probability, they go to the strong side. So strong side got different responsibilities. Strong side, defensive end, they got to be a little more sound, because you got to set edges over there,
Yeah,
strong side,
run first, and then get to the quarterback. So just wreak havoc on your way to the quarterback, so to speak.
Right. Strong side linebacker, strong safety. They got to be a little more sound. Weak side players can be a little more free. Weak defensive ends can crash a little bit. You know what I'm saying? So let me ask you a question, sir. Do you think Jalen Smith playing weak side linebacker now, do you think that would improve him? Because last year, he would have to overcompensate and play a lot of hero ball, and he'll miss out on assignments. If you take assignments away from him, will him playing more free make him better?
Let me ask you a question, right?
Yes.
And nobody pays attention to this, right? And answer it with the first thing that comes to your mind. It's going to throw you off a little bit.
Okay.
Can Chase Young play middle linebacker? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, he could.
Yeah.
He could.
Yeah.
That's a question. That's a question that you can ask, right?
I say that all the time, because look, he may not be best there, but he can. But he can do it. There you go.
Right. Mm-hmm. But should he play middle linebacker? Is the other question.
He should not, but he can.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Same theory I got for Jalen. For those who are hype about Chase Young, Jalen has less size. Obviously, Chase is about 260. Jay like 245, and he got him by like an inch or two, I think. But I don't know. Chase Young about 6'5", Jalen like 6'2", 6'3", ish, somewhere in there.
Right.
But reason I say that is pass rushing ability, and you can argue it if you want, but I haven't seen many linebackers who can pass rush like Jalen Smith.
Yes.
And the reason I brought up Chase Young is because that's who he reminds me of. Off the edge. He's a guy that you could put him at middle, and he could play pretty well there. Like, just like Clay Matthews did pretty good at middle linebacker when Green Bay decided to move him there. Right. But his natural ability to wreak havoc was gone because he had more responsibility in regards to the cerebral part of the game, from getting people lined up to understanding his run fits to, it was just so much Jalen had to do at middle. I like LVE there, and I like Jalen playing where he is, because if you just said if you watch Azur Kamar's film, I did film on him. When I was watching the film, it just reminded me, like, this is how I would use Jalen. They use like a funnel technique where he's playing off of, it was like a 4-3 hybrid defense and /3-4 that Kansas was running with Azur, but Azur will be out here in space on his own, and anything that goes short to 15 yards behind him, you can tell that was pretty much him. Even if a wide receiver came out there in the slot, he would reroute him and then work his way to the quarterback or work his way to the ball carrier or just play out underneath that wide receiver and trail him. And he was athletic enough to do that. And he doesn't have to change the direction explosion that Jalen does. But he doesn't have the knee and the drop foot that Jalen has. So change the direction when it came to like taking the thud and actually being able to not only fill your gap, but then get out of your gap and get somewhere else. That was like asking Jalen to do a lot. And you saw that from a lot of our players.
Sure.
They were all playing hero ball. A lot of my plays from D-Law were up the field on opposite side of the field. Not even his play. Not even, same thing with Woods. Woods, big man, but he was running up and down the line, making hits like he was making tackles like he was Geno Atkins or one of those smaller D tackles. Like it was a lot of that going on.
Sure.
I think when you have guys who are playing in their proper position, you don't have to do that. And Jalen on the outside, having it where he can decide when he wants to rush and bring pressure. He can decide when he wants to cover a tight end. He can cover a tight end at that. He can decide when or if he's taking a running back out the backfield. He's athletic enough to do all those things. But now he's not asked to play 9 yards off the ball and watch wide receivers crossing. That was his responsibility to get under those crossing routes.
Sure.
And that took all of them, their first steps, the majority of every game, out of 61 snaps, 40 some odd snaps, even on run plays, the majority of the game, their first steps, both LVE and Jalen, were backwards. And it wasn't because they're scared to come forward.
Right.
It was because the scheme said they had to get a certain amount of depth in order to be able to get under those crossing routes, because the integrity of a cover 3 defense is broken down, as you know, in the seams leading into the quarters, the thirds of the field underneath those corners. If those corners get rolled up on a 9 or 7 route, you can come under their jet stream on a late comeback route or something like that, or a late crossing route, post pattern, whatever.
Right.
Underneath them, and those wide receivers, those linebackers had to get underneath those routes because of that, and they did a pretty good job doing that. But again, can Chase Young do that? Yeah. How smart do you look asking them to?
Because honestly, we got 4 will linebackers, and we just kind of got to find the best combination for that. And like you said, like Jalen, like 6'2", whatever. Like, but like Vander is 6'5".
I agree with you though. I think we got 4 prototypical linebackers.
I think we got 4 guys that'll be perfect at will. They'll just be perfect wills.
That's because they're all prototypical athletes. They're athletes,
basically.
But Jalen can come and play that. Jalen can play strong side. He can play Sam.
Sure.
So can I like LVE as Sam. I know that's why I like him at the middle.
Yeah.
Because I like LVE when he's closer to the action, where he doesn't have to wait for it.
Plus he's bigger.
Yeah.
Vander is huge. Yeah.
Yeah, he's bigger. That hit that he put on Pollard, man, God bless him.
Will they stop? We had practice and trying to make it to. Will they stop trying to bend my running backs up, man?
Yeah, that was kind of crazy. But he didn't even blow him up. It wasn't no shoulder, no nothing. He just ran into him. That's what size do, man.
But I think the defense is a little different, man. Let me ask you a question, sir.
I like him at middle, though.
Let me ask you a question, sir.
Go ahead.
Do you think Gerald McCoy's injury made us a better defense versus the run? Because Tyrone Crawford's the guy now. So when I look at Gerald McCoy is probably going to penetrate a little more. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tyrone Crawford is better two-gapping. And we have that different kind of scheme now where we got to punch and read more. And Tyrone Crawford
it's a lot more two-gapping than upfield penetration.
Yeah.
But I'll say it made us better because the rotations get a little more interesting.
Yeah.
Like, you knew it was going to be Gerald McCoy and Dontari Poe out there before. Now it's like, nah, you could throw Woods and McCoy out. I mean, Woods and Poe out there in certain packages if you want, if you want to just suck up a lot of blocks.
Yeah.
Woods and Poe will be a lot to deal with. I remember Marcus Stroud and
Henderson.
Yeah, and Henry. Yep, Big Henry. It's like that. Like they had 2 1-techs that could play 3-tech. Like 2 Calais Campbell types.
Sure.
And these guys are a little shorter and they probably ate a little bit more. But having both those guys out there, I like that in short yardage situations. Woods and Poe out there. Woods is going to eat next to Poe, and so is Crawford, because Crawford's already, Crawford's one of those guys. His heart takes him through the position rotations that he usually goes through. It's not just his understanding of the game, but he's come from that Parcells tree. He's an older guy, but his motor and his heart is what gets him through. But now it won't really have to. Like our guys with Rod Marinella, we learn how to beat one-on-ones,
Right.
And how to work in space because of all the stunting that we were doing. So we have a lot of explosive guys, even though they're big. Like Woods is an explosive guy. He can move for a big guy.
Yeah.
So I think even Poe has educated feet. I did a breakdown on Poe, and Poe got moves, man.
Sure.
So all that said, I think that bodes well for us, especially in this two-gapping scheme, because when you ask a guy to fully commit to a gap and get upfield, his explosion to get you there. Tristan Hill, same thing. His explosion to get you there. But when we have guys that are two-way versatile, like they're nimble, they're athletic, they have that dexterity where they can go both ways, Neville Gallimore, Tristan Hill, then two-gapping is not a bad thing. That's what made Aldon Smith what he was. Like, he'll stand you up, and remember, that blocker doesn't know where that running back is behind him.
Right.
So when you're two-gapping, you can walk that blocker into the gap that you want to seal and then bounce flow to the correct hole. That's the adjustment hole for that, or that cutback lane for that running back. But you know it. I heard, I can't take credit for that. LeVar Arrington talked about the fact that he was a running back in high school,
right,
and how that helped him because he would lead blockers to a gap because they don't know what's behind them. So he'll lead them, act like he's shooting a gap, and they'll close off that gap, and then he can shoot the proper gap with his athleticism because of his ability to change directions. But we have a lot of guys that can do that, and they're all big too. So I think it helps our defense. Not saying that Gerald McCoy wouldn't have brought wisdom and knowledge to the D, but I think it helps our defense because of the unique rotations we'll get with him being out. We'll be able to use a lot of those young guys a lot more creatively.
We got 400.
And Aldon Smith 280, man. You could throw him.
We gonna get there. We gonna get there. Hang tight. We gonna get there.
Oh, all right, I got you.
We got 447 people watching live, man. For all of y'all that's just kind of tuned in right now, appreciate y'all for tuning in. But y'all notice I'm trying to make my attempt at making better thumbnails. Now this thumbnail was kind of whack looking, but I had to learn how to Photoshop today. I dropped a quote on my Twitter, and I want to quote myself exactly. You know what I'm saying? And let me see what I say. What I say today? I say, find peers that keep you on your toes, then make them make you grow. You know what I'm saying? So I got a lot of cowboy content creators that got fire ass thumbnails because they know how to Photoshop. I ain't know how to Photoshop. So what that mean, Voch? You need to learn how to Photoshop.
Got to work on it. Exactly.
So I went to go Photoshop Akoye. I went to his Instagram, and I was like, yeah, he would like for me to Photoshop this picture, but I had to make sure I Photoshopped his beard and his fade good. You know?
You got the one. You got the one where I thought I must have been fresh off the out the barbershop.
You was fresh out the chair. I
swore I was sharp. I was like, I was sitting pretty that day.
And we just happen to have a lot of women in my chat box. I don't know if that's coincidence or.
Hey, like I love it.
But they here all together right now, so appreciate y'all for being here. Appreciate all 500 of y'all that's on the way. Go watch my recap video. Appreciate y'all. Now, Brother Akoye, we're talking about D lineman and two-gapping. Tristan Hill and Neville Gallimore are penetrating players. Do you think they'll have a hard time learning how to two-gap?
No, because if you watch their film, they're nimble guys for big guys. Like I said, we were asking, Tristan Hill was asked to explode upfield. We don't really know what he does if he's not asked to do that. He was perfect for stunting, but that's why I said, having Gerald McCoy out, you can bring a Tristan Hill in and put him next to Poe, and we are going to stunt in certain packages. So it doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to do what they naturally do. We just have guys that can do those things.
Yeah.
Gallimore is a unique guy. I think if he gets a year under his belt, especially behind Poe, he's a big guy, and you watch him in the LSU game. They had 3 guys on him at times. He was playing, he played one tech in that game. It seemed like he was even though they were playing like a crawl technique, he was the guy asked to be over center more often than not in that game. And they were triple teaming him at times, and he was still getting there. So his speed and explosiveness, I think he could figure it out. Like, he has the strength to stand his guys up and kind of choose where he's going to go. And he's not the type to give up ground. Tristan is upfield only, it seems like, because he's a penetrator. Gallimore, I think, can stand his guys up. Tristan, I think we're going to use a lot more in stunting formations, stunting packages, and those sub packages. But you never know because, again, you have to say, he was asked to do different things under a different scheme. That doesn't mean a player can't do the opposite. It just means that they weren't asked to do that.
Sure.
See? So he can very well. You never know. He might very well come out and be better two gapping than anything else because, reading and reacting in a two gap scheme and then kind of directing your guy where it needs to be. It requires some explosion. You're not exploding to get upfield. You're exploding to kind of set the tempo, and then you're kind of reading off of that. So it's like almost like zone blocking for the offense.
Sure.
It's zone blocking for defense almost. It's like, okay, punch him in the mouth to disengage him and then find the ball. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's similar, just he's just not asked to get upfield. So he used that explosion to get the separation that you need to read the ball carrier. And I think it'll be fine. I think both of them will be fine behind Poe because Poe and Woods set a good example doing that.
Man, if I need anybody to be great, I need Tristan to figure this out because I've been riding for him. People been hating on Tristan. People been just wanting to push him off a bridge. But I'm like, look, let him get his man body and let him figure it out, man. Let him be great.
You know what, man? For those who argue against 3-4, 3-4 might be the best thing. The reason I keep screaming for is because the same thing you're saying right there. Tristan at 3-tech, okay, good. Tristan playing 3-4 like Marcus Spears, 3-4 defensive end.
Yeah, okay.
I like that a lot better. You get a guy that can get upfield, can get pressure on the quarterback if he needs to, controls that B gap. He's not going against those centers in the Zach Martins of the world as readily as often because they're trying to get out on the edge to get on Jalen or Alden or D-Law or whomever standing up outside, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think Tristan playing in a 3-4 scheme or in the 3-tech, but preferably 3-4. 4-3. 3-4. I'm sorry.
3-4.
You get me tongue twisted. All those 3s and 4s.
Right.
But 3-4 scheme, I think he bodes well because you can get him on the field at the same time as a Dontari Poe, and you have him out, spread out more on the edge. He's kind of shading that outside shoulder of the guard rather than being inside.
Grave Digger 1282 dropped 25 in the super chat. You ever had a quarter pounder with cheese in France? He says what's
a
up?
Royale with cheese.
Royale with cheese. He said,
what's
up?
About that, pimp? You know about that?
What's up about you, Akoye?
What you know about that Pulp Fiction product, man?
Yeah. We gonna podcast one day.
One day.
How serious are the injuries to Cheeto and Jordan Lewis? Do we have solid depth to fill their shoes? I think all our corners kind of in the same tier of guy anyway. You know what I'm saying, for the most part. So let's transition into Diggs. Where you think Diggs lined up, and do you think he's gonna start? Might as well.
Diggs is
might as well.
Like the eye test is gonna tell it all.
Sure.
And Diggs is going dig on field. I like what he's doing with the no numbers because the no numbers means like when you see a player make a play, you're not kind of overlooking it because it's the third string guy. It's like who did that? Let's see who did that and who does what well. I like the fact that they're doing that. But Diggs is one of those guys that's like standing out from the little bit of film that I've been able to watch of the secondary and of the pass offense. Diggs is there, man. Like I saw him, he got beat by I think Schultz beat him for a dig route because Dak just put the ball on his back shoulder perfectly and laid him down.
Right.
But had he not done that, Diggs had the ball in his hands even with that happening.
Mm-hmm.
But had he not done that, it was an interception. And I think he got a few too. But I watched him break up a couple passes, and just the way he flashes to the ball, he's not getting there to hit anybody. But the way he flashes to the ball, he makes me ask who that was or who was that. The way Wilson was doing last preseason, the way Roy Williams used to do when he hit somebody, though, you'd be like, who the hell came down and did that? And him wearing 31 just, it made me excited. That's my number. So, the way he's flashing to the ball, though, I think he's definitely somewhere on the right or left. It doesn't matter. I think he's earned himself, cornerback CB1 or 2, or 1 of 2. Doesn't matter where you put him.
There's a clip of him versus Noah Brown. Noah Brown had like an out and up, and once he read the out up, like he looked back at the ball and he ran for like 20 steps looking back at the ball because he just know where the route was going. You know what I mean?
He sat on that. Yeah.
So where they may be teaching finding the football to these other guys, Diggs got the advantage already. Diggs know how to do that because he's been doing it. That's all he know.
Diggs will go get the ball, and I want people to start looking out. Like everybody in the secondary, though, you really can't have any set notions,
right?
Because the way they played when teams knew exactly what they were running, that's admirable, knowing that the teams knew exactly what you were running. That's a hell of a job to stop somebody who knows exactly what you're doing. When you have some blitzing packages, and I know it was it Dave Camp, not Campo, Dom Capers was doing a lot of that blitzing for Mike McCarthy in Green Bay. But I think Mike McCarthy, he there's some muscle memory and some residue there. So we will be using some unique looks up front. And I think that pressure that we're going to be able to bring, especially Jalen being at the wheel, that pressure we're going to be able to bring up front, and the matchups that we have up front with both Jalen, Joe Thomas, Gifford can run like a deer too. He can cover. And then you got LVE, where that's his strong suit. So when you have guys up front who can match up against running backs and tight ends, that responsibility from those safeties and those corners can be rerouted to stopping those wide receiver patterns, both underneath and over the top. So we could do a lot more with our zone blitzing scheme because of the versatility that we have up front. Those guys creating pressure up front, you're going to see different turnover ratios this year. And I think you're going to see players like Woods, Wilson, Thomas I liked since he was in New York. When he played for the Giants, I liked him. Yeah. So guys like that, you're going to see what they're really worth when they're not asked to play in set spots where guys know, blockers love knowing where they're going before the play starts. They know where they're going. They know what gap he's in. They know where you're going to be. It's very easy to stop that. So
Segway Jones, let me ask you this. With this D-line scheme,
right,
attitude, propensity to attack the football,
right,
disguising the defense, do we really need safety? Like, do we really need to address safety? Because with all those new things that we have, we can probably run the guys that we got. I just keep going back last year, Sam Darnold saying.
When you use that word need, though, you kind of like.
That's what Cowboy Nation is saying. Like I was saying, like last year, Sam Darnold was like, yeah, man, it was what they said it was. They didn't hide, they didn't disguise or anything. We're gonna bait guys this year. So I think we fine with the guys we got. I think we'll be great. I think
stop that, Voch.
I think we good, man. You ain't one of them Earl Thomas cats, is you?
Check it out. Now, I like Earl, but I think if you're gonna bring Earl Thomas in, you still gonna ask the question who's gonna play in the box, because he's not the box guy.
Right.
So I think he creates more confusion than anything, because he moves Woods out of position.
Right.
And then Woods is a log jam behind him now, and having to rotate in that nickel.
Yeah.
Unless somebody gets injured, you don't need Woods on the field anymore with Earl Thomas, and I think that stumps Woods' progression, because I think we got a great player in Woods. I think he just was asked to do dumb shit last year. Excuse my French. But
dumb shit last year.
It's not about Earl Thomas, though.
Yeah.
The word need is not necessary, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because did we need Everson Griffin?
Boy, it's nice to have him, though.
Did we need him?
It's nice
with
to have
D-Law.
I don't think we needed him necessarily. I don't think we needed him.
Yeah, with Jalen and Alden and D-Law and then Randy maybe. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Did we need him? No, we ain't need him.
Mm-hmm.
But I damn sure want him. You see what I'm saying? So it's like that. Do I want a box safety? Yeah. I miss Kayvon Frazier right now, because this would have been his time to shine. But he'll do good in Jacksonville. But do I think we need one, though? No. You're right. We don't need a box safety because of what we have up front.
Mm-hmm.
But I still want one, because I just like watching the safety come and blow shit up. Wilson has that ability, even though he's not a big guy.
Mm-hmm.
Brian Dawkins was only 210 most of his career before before the HGH. I don't know. He must have been on something. That dude got big as shit.
Yeah.
Sorry. Dude got big as hell late in his career too.
Right.
But both him and Landry was big as hell. Their arms was bigger than my head. But they weren't big guys. So I think the temperament is there with certain guys. Like Wilson definitely can play in the box. Cheeto can play in the box. And Worley can play in the box. They all got the temperament for it. And the size too. Worley's 6'2", 215. He's Darren Woodson size. So the misnomer that we don't have a guy big enough to play in the box, that ain't true.
Right.
It's just, would you want a guy that's traditionally 220, 230? I mean, it ain't that many Derwin Jameses in the world, though.
Sure.
So, You might not find a guy that's prototypically a box guy, but go around the league, and look. You had dudes like Mike Brown. He's only 200 pounds. Dawkins only 200 pounds. You don't have a bunch of guys that's walking around 215, 230, 6'3". That's not every day you find that. And then we complained about the one who we had that was actually doing the damn job. And Heath, we ain't like that.
Heath was incredible. I love Jeff Heath.
Heath will be shining right now too in this scheme.
Sure.
Because you imagine the Heath blitzing more and playing down close to the line of scrimmage. But Heath was a full well-rounded safety. He could play single high when needed and do it well, sideline to sideline. Play in the box when needed and do it well. His angles, sometimes he get caught in some of the dumbest angles you ever seen. But so would Roy Williams sometimes. So would Darren Woodson sometimes. That comes with the territory when you got a thudder coming down trying to, really light somebody up. They beeline into that spot. And if you put your foot in the ground and you're a little bit nimble with it, you might catch them a couple times. But that comes with the territory. I think you need one of those, an enforcer like that, though, on the field somewhere. Barry Churches, those guys, they make people scared to come across the middle, man. I like that.
Chris Richard was so terrible. Let me ask you a question, sir. So with all this, what do you think our base formation is going to be?
I think it's going to be a 3-3-X is what I call it. It's not going to be a 3-4. I think it's going to be 4-3 with that will off the edge, like sort of like Carolina runs with Shaq Thomas. They'll put him out there. I think that's a lot more close to what we'll do with Jalen at the will. You might see him in space sometimes because he did prove that he can match up against receivers at times, sort of like Shaq Thomas does. So I think it'll allow us to stay in whatever our base is what I mean. So sometimes that base might look like, 3-4 with D-Law standing up on the opposite side of Jalen with Jalen in the slot, but we're still able to maintain that 3-4 scheme because of the versatility those guys have. So I think we'll truly see a hybrid, man. We're going to always have at least one man standing, I believe, though. What side he'd be on, I don't know. But I think we'll have a guy standing on the outside because I don't think you go get an Alden Smith, and I don't think you move a Jalen Smith if you plan on playing 4-3 traditional. Because Alden, it would be like what the Cowboys have been doing for years, which is going to get guys who you see, like Jalen, who you'll see doing great things in a certain way. And then when we get him, we do something altogether different with him, like moving Cheeto to the outside instead of having him nickel and safety. Free safety / nickel is what he is. Moving Jalen to the middle instead of having him on the outside because an edge rusher in a 3-4 / a will linebacker in a 4-3 is what he is, period. So having those guys where they need to be, I think will bring a lot more. I keep saying it because that's really what it is. Our versatility is there. So I think we will start using those guys as gifts a lot more. So somebody will be standing. You don't go get an Alden Smith to put his hand down. He never did that. So why would you do it now?
I really like what you said when you was talking about Alden Smith as an outside linebacker guy. So we know he can do that. We know he can play DN.
Yeah.
He kind of built like David Irvin too, though, huh?
100. He is built like David Irvin.
So what you think we do with that now, Playboy? What you think we do with that?
Oh, I said that earlier. I said you're gonna see because of Poe. Like if we had two undersized guys, as long as he's next to Poe or Woods, you might not see him. You might not see him there in our base formation, but in our nickel coverage and dime, you might see him move inside. Yeah, and think about what that does. If you got Poe out there that's anchoring two guys in the middle of the field anyway, and then you got bona fide guys on either side of him,
right?
D-Law, and then inside of him, you'll have Alden Smith. That's your whole offensive line right there. You're gonna need, and you might need a tight end or a running back or two to help with that. Because I know Law can take two. He do it all the time.
But that's just so much. That's so much ambiguity. How rare can a player you can line up at linebacker, end, or tackle? That's special.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I liked about I don't know what he's doing right now. I know he got signed by the Raiders. That's what I liked about Dayton Jones. If he would have stayed healthy here, it was like I never saw that except for with McCarthy.
Yeah.
He did it with Peppers and he did it with Dayton Jones. He would move those guys around everywhere, anywhere. I seen Dayton Jones play middle linebacker in their scheme because the way they were playing, it doesn't matter. Like it didn't matter. If he was blitzing, he was blitzing. But whether it was standing up from the middle or whatever, I think it was certain keys he could read and he could just go do what he wanted to do after that. But yeah, I think Alden is a lot like that. And if you watch what they did with him in San Fran, it wasn't fair. Like it wasn't fair. They would shift the entire defense strong side, and he was weak side by himself. Yeah. Meaning if you cut back over here, or if you run a counter trap or something back this way, he's going to destroy the trap block, destroy whatever lead block there is on the outside, and still make. I've seen him do that against the Colts. They had him out, covering the slot, rerouting the slot, and while doing that, he was playing trail or will on that side as well. So whenever anything cut back that direction, he was it. Yeah. In doing it, he was it. I've only seen a few defensive ends / outside linebackers do it like that. Like they're either pass rushers or they're run stoppers. Like McPhee, remember McPhee? Pernell McPhee was the best run stopping outside linebacker I've seen in a long time. Great at it, right? Wasn't the greatest pass rusher, but he would get there because of his effort. But Alden could do both, man.
I just changed my tone.
So can D-Law. D-Law is a lot like Alden Smith, believe it or not. He's just more aggressive. Yeah. Alden Smith more patient than he is. But they play a lot alike. You can't block them.
I think Alden's probably built a little different because his length makes him like really, really special. But I mean, like I just changed my tune on that dude so much, man. Because at first I was like, well, hell, man, if we get 4 sacks, I hope he show up in shape and we'll see what happens. No, but I'm looking now like, yeah, let's get 10 sacks and see what happens. Let's get 10 sacks.
I mean, if he don't get 10 sacks, it's only because everybody eating. And it's like a race to the ball carrier because it's somebody not gonna get it. And you got to think about it. You got Griffith out there. You got D-Law out there, hungry, ready to prove his check. Yeah. You got a happy Jalen out there who's happy to get after Jalen. Man, watch Jalen blitz. Aaron Rodgers last year. Just go to sacks and watch his sack on Aaron Rodgers last year, and watch how far and how much ground he covered on that sack. Like watching him chase a quarterback is like watching Von Miller chase a quarterback. It's just scary, man. You can't block this dude, and I think him on the outside blitzing is gonna put him in a different stratosphere. He was already a Pro Bowler at middle linebacker, man. Think about that. That's not his position. Him backing up off the ball is not the way to go with Jalen. That wasn't his. He can go sideline to sideline, but he's a come downhill guy. And if you just make it so that he doesn't have to change direction, he doesn't have to put that much pressure on his knees and on his foot, and you just say go.
Right.
He dictates where he's going. It's not like he has to cut back or anything. He's dictating because he's coming. So it's crazy, man.
I mean, if you watch Jalen at Notre Dame, like he was a full-blown pass rusher Notre Dame.
Full-blown. I thought he was better at pass rushing then. It's just that he just so happened to be able to run like a deer and stick with wide receivers too. Yeah. So you use him for some of that sometimes, Do it sometimes. Do it to trick some guys. Do it to create mismatches. But don't ask the man to do it all day and abandon what he does best. No, we don't do that.
So let me ask you this, sir. Who's the best pass rusher on our team? Who's the best?
Pure pass rusher?
Sure. Who's the best?
I still got Jalen on that, bro.
You think Jalen's the best pure pass rusher on our team right now? That what you saying?
Listen, I can prove it. You want me to prove it?
I mean, go ahead, talk your shit. Go ahead.
All right, well, I'm gonna give you my film proof for those who want to see something.
Okay. I'm looking up Jalen Smith sacks right now.
Like,
I'm actually pulling it up right now.
I say pure pass rusher, right?
Yeah.
You got Randy who has the bend, right, and speed and explosiveness.
Yes.
Does Jalen have 90% of that?
Sure.
Would you say? Okay. So he can. So if you would say that Randy is the best natural pass rusher because of that, right? Jalen can do that too.
But Randy also got like this length that he's born with, and this twist that he's born with. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, I mean length does something for you. But you had a kid. What was his name? Harold Landry, I think his name.
Harold Landry's incredible out of Boston College. That played for.
He ain't a long guy. He ain't a long guy.
Yeah.
But he's a beast, right or wrong.
That's fair.
Who's the other kid? Shaq Barrett, I think he was last year.
Sure.
He ain't a long guy either.
But
He ain't a
Shaq
big
Barrett,
guy.
Shaq Barrett only had one good year though. Like he only led the league in sacks last year. Come on now,
It was a hell of a year.
It was a hell of a year.
It
was a great year.
That was a hell of a year.
Just so you know, right now, sir, I just pulled up Jalen Smith's sacks right now. So I just got Jalen Smith's sacks on the screen right now. But you can go ahead and say what you was gonna say, though, bro.
Okay. So if you look at the Texans game in I think it was 2016, 27, maybe 2018, when we played the Texans, there was a pass rush that he did where it was just a normal swim, but he had to go through not only the tackle but also the running back on his way to the quarterback, and D. Law was doing the same exact move simultaneously right next to him. And they got to the ball. Like Woods got an interception on his play. So if you want to, that can help you narrow it down. But they both got to the ball carrier at the same exact time. And Jalen was coming from maybe 5 yards deeper, and had to come through 2 blockers to get there, and still got there at the same exact time. And I was like, that was nasty. And then, like I said, that
Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. Somebody just called me. I had to cancel it.
Right, cool,
but that sack against Green Bay, that one as well. Like the explosiveness, his speed. Chase. How many sacks do you think Chase Young's gonna get just off the fact that he's fast as hell?
He ain't getting none on Tyron Smith, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah, 100%.
But you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So Jalen can get him just off of athleticism. If you just blitz him. If you just blitz him, he's gonna get there anyway. But the fact that he can do those other things, he's good enough with his hands. I say overall, he's better at pass rushing than anybody on the team because he can. You've seen him blow guys.
Look at that dip right there. Tell people quit calling you.
Stop calling me, man.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, so just for a little bit of context right here, Jalen Smith, 54, of course. He's gonna kind of almost engage with his guard, but look at this dip right here. This bout right there. That is special. That is D-line-esque. That is D-end-esque dip right there. That's nice.
Factual. Can you still see me? I'm still here.
I got film on the screen, so let me see.
Oh, all right, cool.
Okay, you not on the screen no more, but it's all good. We playing film right now, so if you got to leave and come back, do what you got to do, and I'll just talk to the people or whatever. But yeah, man, I kind of feel what Brother Akoye is saying. Now, am I necessarily on the team of is he is he up there with Randy and Alden? I don't know, man, because Randy and Alden got some natural gifts. I think that kind of separates them. But I do think that if we bring Jalen more, that if we put him in more pass rush situations, I do think he'll get a lot more sacks. He'll get more pressures. And he didn't. I don't know how he do that. Let me get you.
I just quit and came back in because I couldn't hear myself.
I don't know how you do that. Yeah, I was saying that I do think Randy and Alden got certain things about them physically that are special, and I do think the hand technician that D. Law is pretty fantastic. But I also think Jalen does have some natural gifts, and if we probably just blitz him a little more or just put him in more pass rush situations, he would have more sacks and pressures or whatever.
And he's going to create more sacks for those other guys, like because of his explosion off the edge. He's too fast off the edge, man.
Sure.
Just the fact that he's over there, even when he's over there, you're not running at him. So the fact that he's over there, you got Alden and D-Law on each side, either or. Like, even if you move D-Law inside and bring Jalen outside him on certain plays, wherever he is, you're not running at him. And then you can't run the opposite way either. So so it's like, at the end of the day, him coming off the edge and chasing quarterbacks towards those other guys is going to create opportunities for them too. The way that Randy Gregory was doing when he was just coming off the edge, even though he wasn't getting there, he was making it so that, guys had to the quarterbacks had to go to their next read or lift their foot up and get off of that spot because of his ability to get to that spot. So that first spot, Jalen got that. He got that. By the time you get to your drop, he will be there. And that's going to make quarterbacks either have to hold that ball, step up in the pocket, or pause. And that's a hell of a thing to have to do when you got the rest of these guys, the Space Jam All-Stars coming at you.
We're going to have so much film to break down when we get this first game. It's going to be nasty. Super chat, though. Shouts out to Cowboy Fan 421. Dropped a deuce in the super chat. Appreciate you, sir. Or ma'am. I don't want to discriminate and all that. We got another one here. Tariq Salim, he says, please God give Gregory back to this defense. I'm gonna ask you about Randy Gregory in a handful of seconds. I see your face. Hang tight. Hold on. Hold what you got. And we got Corey and Fairley. Voch, I see where you're coming from. But the same penetration will blow up the run. Yes, but there was a lot of situations last year where our D line would get too far upfield. And we would get blown past, and when you take yourself out the way, it's easy for blockers to get to the next level and block your linebackers. So I kind of like us kind of two gapping a little bit and holding the line of scrimmage.
All of the traditional run stopping teams are two gapping teams.
There you go.
It's Pittsburgh. Watch Baltimore versus San Fran last year. That was all run, even though they ran all up and down on each other. So it's not like the best run stopping film you can look at. But I think on both sides they make great plays though. So if you want to watch good running and good run defense, you watch that game. It was messy. They couldn't throw the ball. It was nothing but running. But those teams traditionally two gap.
And also Dan Owens, he's a graphic designer for Amazon. He sent me an email. He says, Voch, I want to help you with your Photoshop and send you some overlays. Hell yeah, send them shit.
Shit.
Help me out.
Let them pour out. Shit. Since it's Christmas.
Help me out. So, Brother Akoye, we have so many pass rushers. I dropped this tweet the other day, this graphic. I was looking at some some pass rush sets from the Vikings. And I just kind of fill guys in or whatever. How do you think we get the best guys on the field?
3-4.
Man, give me a little more than that. Man. Give me a little more than that.
I mean, it's like this, man. With the addition of Dontari Poe and the fact that if you run a 3-4 scheme, D-Law can play like J.J. Watt's position. Yeah. He can play that 3-4 defensive end. So can Alden Smith. So think about that. Like, how do you get other guys on the field? Like, and so can Everson Griffin if you had to, but I wouldn't put him there.
Sure.
But if you wanted Griffith, Smith, D-Law, and Smith all out there at the same time, you can literally do that with putting Dontari Poe down. I can see the screen now.
Okay, yeah. So I was watching the Vikings versus the Eagles because I want to see how Griffin did versus the Eagles or whatever, since we're gonna be playing them twice. And I saw them line up in this formation, and I shared this on Twitter. I shared this on my
I like that.
Yeah. So everybody kind of saw this and just lost their mind a little bit. I'm gonna put it on the screen as well for everybody.
That's a sickening formation right there. You ain't doing shit against that.
So just chat box. Give me y'all thoughts on this lineup, man. Give me y'all's thoughts. Chat box. Tell me what y'all think about this, Brother Akoye. Do you think this is realistic? That this is something we can actually do?
Well, you remember when we had Tony Romo? We played the Bills. They played us like down to the wire, right?
Sure.
And that was a crawl. They used a crawl technique like that. That's called like that crawl defense where you have guys just standing up all over the place.
Yeah.
You really don't know what they're doing. And it was throwing Tony Romo off like crazy. So of course we could do something like that. And you have everybody labeled, I think, accordingly. Like we got people who, like I said, play traditionally, belly with their hands down like a Crawford. Guys like Woods, guys like Poe. I would like to see, I think this is a passing formation, so obviously you ain't gonna see Poe out there.
Sure.
But I think you can do something like that with him. Yeah, of course.
Boy, Brother Akoye, this looks so nasty, boy. This need an OnlyFans, dog. This just look. I thought of this, boy. I was like, damn, if we did this, I
ain't doing shit against it. I'll tell you that.
I won't watch offense no more if we can get a look like this, man. It's guaranteed. Plus, in case y'all didn't know, this was actually a sack on the play. They actually sacked Carson Wentz on this play. So, hey, man, you can't beat that with a stick.
Because you don't know who you pick up, who the mic on this play. You don't know.
Shit, everybody.
They're like, Mike, everybody the mic.
Everybody the mic. Chat box. I got one more question for Brother Akoye. So if y'all have a question, I'll probably pick 3 questions. I'm gonna let him get back to his family and his young ones and all that. He's been a fantastic father over there. Hold it down, clap it up for him. Drop some fire emojis for that. I look up to
Depends,
that.
depends on which day you ask one of them, because school's just started back up, so they're gonna be on my ass in a minute. Like
That's fair.
yeah, you already know.
That's fair enough. So I got one more question for him, and if y'all would just drop y'all's questions, I'll take like 2 or 3 of them, and we'll address that accordingly or whatever. Let's see what I had. So Xavier Woods kind of almost got hurt a little bit or whatever. I ain't looking too much into it. How do we get Donovan Wilson involved? I mean, have we given up on Clinton Dix? Like if you had to start 2 guys, because I think personally Clinton Dix is a better game player than a practice guy. I don't think you just wake up in the morning and you worse than Darian Thompson. You know what I'm saying?
No, I think is I think he's gonna be fine.
Yeah.
I like what he brings because he's a rangy guy, and he can be that eraser for us if Woods is hurt. So yeah, I do like him there. I actually like him log jams behind Woods. Wilson should be on the field, period, I believe. As far as I know Thompson has played well, but Thompson again is more like a tweener. He's like a corner / safety. He can do both. Mm-hmm. Even though he probably is only going to play safety for us. But I don't want to see him out in the box over Wilson, to be honest with you. I would rather see Wilson out there. When I watched Wilson's film, I was putting some film together for him. Wilson is a beeline missile guy. Like, he's fast going in one direction or the other. I think where he comes into trouble is this change. Well, in college anyway, it was change of direction. We don't know what he can do now because he may have gotten over that. But in college, it was whatever direction he was going, that's where he's going by the time the play was over, which made for big hits. Made for interceptions when he read it correctly, but also made for a lot of missed tackles and running himself out of plays too. So, but that could have been schemed with A&M, or I don't know if it was A&M. I think it was A&M he played for. But
Donovan,
I know it was a Burgundy team. I don't remember.
Takes
A&M,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, one of them. But either way, I think that he's on the field as a box safety right now. I don't want to see and Woods out there. I would rather see Wilson out there and just let him take his lumps. He has the pedigree. I think let Wilson take his lumps and play that box safety that you need out there. I don't see it going any other way unless it's Thompson, season and Wilson behind him. And if that's the case, Wilson doesn't see the field that much, minus special teams and some sub packages, which is probably what it's going to be anyway. Because I don't think Woods is that hurt.
So let me ask you a question. We make a big fuss about right defensive end, and we should, because most of our best guys are there. But what are we gonna do with Dorrance and Joe Jackson? Like, what's the move with them? Yeah.
They don't fit.
That's what I'm saying. What are we doing?
They don't fit unless we're going 3-4, man. 3-4 defensive ends. They can 2-gap. Joe Jackson's a 2-gapping guy.
He's a big dude. He's a big dude too. Yeah.
And Dorrance has the size and the length for it, the strength for it, or the temperament for it, should I say. Mm-hmm. I think he played better that way anyway. He's not like a pure pass rusher. He is one of those guys that gets up and can stand guys up. So, I mean, I think if you ask them to put on 10 pounds, both of them, and play on the edge in a 3-4, then they have a home here. If it's 4-3, they know. I don't think they see the field, bro.
That's fair, but it is what it is, though. That's fair, but it is what it is. Who is more important to this defense, Jalen Smith or D Law?
Jalen. Yeah, Jalen. Because again, if you lose a D Law, can you make up for that pass rushing and run stopping ability with a Crawford and Alden Smith on the other side of the field, or with a Griffith as far as pass rushing and run stopping? Yeah, you could do that. If you lose a Jalen, though, who you going to put out there to do what he does?
I just think it's really important for us to have, this is the first time in a long time, Brother Akoye. You've been a Cowboys fan longer than me because you're a decade older than me because you're an old man. We ain't had 2 good pass rushers in a long time.
Nah, it's been a while, man.
And we got 3.
Since Greg Ellis. It was a Greg Ellis and DeMarcus Ware or something like that.
Yeah,
I think that was it. Yeah, that was it. And Greg Ellis wasn't even what you would call a great pass rusher. He just got the job done like Bruce Smith. He just would get it done.
Sure.
But yeah, Yeah, I think that answer's still Jalen.
Uh,
Yeah, still Jalen. We got a lot of pass rushers though, but that answer's still Jalen. And the thing that we got a lot of pass rushers, and we're not even talking about the fact that LVE is coming downhill and Pratt. In a lot of these clips I'm seeing, he coming downhill on a regular basis.
uh, uh, uh. All right, okay, go ahead.
So
Okay.
if LVE coming downhill on a regular basis, and then you got Gifford, and then like I said, the way we use Joe Thomas, the way he used Joe Thomas in Green Bay
Mm-hmm.
the first time around. I don't know what scheme we're running, but if we run 3-4, that'll tell us a lot about how we'll use both Joe Thomas and LVE in this scheme, which was I think was genius because the same crawl technique that you saw in that Minnesota film that you just showed, if you watch Joe Thomas's film back in Green Bay,
Yeah.
they would have their 3-4 defensive their nose tackle spread out, kind of shading in the one tech slash almost like three tech almost because Joe Thomas was really the one tech. Weird. He would stand right over center and zero, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he wouldn't engage the center unless he had to, but he wouldn't touch him. He would just stand close enough to him to force the center to have to respect him regardless, which made it one-on-one matchups everywhere else. He would do that every play, and then he would back up and get into his coverage or work his way to the run or whatever he was doing. And he would very rarely even get touched by the center because the center just has to stand there and engage him
Mm-hmm.
to see if he was blitzing or not. So whoever has to pick him up has to still pick him up, even if he's not coming. And Joe Thomas would do that all day. So having LVE, who's 3 inches taller than Joe, doing that would be interesting to see because it would create because he can take up a lot of space in the middle of that field doing that. So we're talking all this pass rusher, natural ability,
Yeah.
but we're not even talking about what the scheme is going to do for those pass rushers and for those guys who aren't even pass rushers.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of chaos up front because of the way they use formations. But watch that film. You can watch my Joe Thomas film and see it. A lot of it's there. Like most of the time in Green Bay, that's what he was doing. He was playing right over center, but he wouldn't touch the center. He would just kind of stand in front of him and shake him, and then flow to the ball if it was a run, or just bail out and play coverage if it was a pass. But him doing that created interceptions for him, and it created a lot of pressure and hesitation up front. It created pressure for for the defense and hesitation in those blocking schemes because that center always had to be responsible for Joe, even when he wasn't doing anything. He would just be standing there playing like shading the quarterback, standing there. But it was creating so much of a fit as far as running was concerned. It was like, and then if you had to, get to the ball carrier and convert to a pass rush in the middle of that, it's not that hard when you're one-on-one most of the time.
One more, and I'm gonna let you go, sir.
Yeah.
Who is going to be our tight end guy this year? I mean, do we go with Jalen since he's the weak linebacker, or do we look at like a safety maybe being that guy, or do we take an auxiliary corner? That's my idea. If it was up to me, I would just take whatever 3 cornerbacks that you're gonna run out there, and then your auxiliary guy, whether that be Worley or Diggs, let that guy be tight end buster because both those guys got enough length, I think, to hang with tight ends. The one thing that made me sick last year was they schemed Jordan Lewis on Kyle Rudolph, and Kyle Rudolph out-heighted his ass 3 times last year. Chris Richard need to go to jail for that shit. So
Stupid.
we finally got long corners now. Who do we put against tight ends? Because we play all the good ones this year. So
I think it depends on how much confidence they have in Jalen.
yeah.
I think if they want Jalen to ascend to be what he's supposed to be, it'd be him.
Because you always go back to the Bears game where they kept trying Jalen. Jalen just kept making plays. Yeah.
Yeah, people kept coming at him for that game because they remember the last play, which is the touchdown, but that entire drive.
But he beat 3 of them.
Right. Yeah, they went at him 6 times in that one drive, but they beat him twice. They beat him once where Jordan Lewis almost had an interception, and Jalen just barely missed the ball, and then they beat him again for the touchdown. But other than that, it was like, and even a corner getting picked on that much would have probably gotten beat just as often. So it's like for a linebacker to make those plays that's asking a lot, and that was nice. But the thing you got to pay attention to is Jalen can't be blocked by a tight end. So if Jalen's at the line putting his hands on a tight end that's at the line of scrimmage and he decides to chase this guy up the field, I don't see him really getting past Jalen too easily. Jalen's used to running underneath wide receivers and getting there. So I don't think a tight end is going to scare Jalen. Um, that's if they want to put that type of effort or that pressure on him. But if they're not going to do that, then I can easily see, a Diggs moving inside to cover a tight end. I can easily see that. If you don't want to risk that, I don't see them using the safety if we run 3-4 though to do it because when you run that 3-4, you want your safeties to be back because you're not using them necessarily to bring pressure the way you would to fill the box or bring pressure in 4-3. You're not really going to need your safety up there. They're probably going to play them 15 yards off the ball rather than down in the box every play. Sure. So I don't see him using the safety to do it. I think it's going to be Jalen, or you might see a corner move inside in certain packages. Or they might just zone it, and have it work that way. We might be running a lot of zone blitzes. So you might not have that one guy that's relegated to a tight end unless it's, Kelsey or somebody we're playing, or Goddard and the Eagles or whatever. But if it's not that, then we might zone scheme that.
I tell you what, man, they love to get on to me and say, Voch, all you do is talk about offense. Offensive line, you talk about Zeke, you talk about the quarterback, you talk about receivers and CeeDee Lamb. Damn it, we just gave you an hour and 10 minutes of nothing but defensive goodness. You know what I'm talking about?
There we go.
Akoye Media, player acquisition. Plug your stuff, sir. Where can they find you? All the good stuff you got coming.
Make sure you guys check out Akoye Media on YouTube. That's the name is right there underneath my face right there. Akoye Media. That's accumulated knowledge over years of experience. I know I got to keep saying that now because everybody think it means they think it means Okoye like the Nigerian. But no. You find me there and definitely catch up if you guys aren't familiar with me. Go back and watch some of my old footage. And work your way up so that we don't have to, because a lot of guys will go watch something like, can you do a breakdown on this guy? I'm like, I already got one, man. Just go back and find it. But any players that you're looking for, just type in the current roster players. Most of them are done, and type in Akoye behind it, and you should be able to find any of the breakdowns for the players that you may want me to break down that I've already done that you might not see. So just type in my name, type in Akoye, and then the player's name, and you'll find the body of work related to him.
And I understand a lot of y'all, you know what I'm saying, not used to Voch collabing and all that, but we going to do it now.
I love it.
We going to do it now. You know what I'm saying? And go check out Brother Akoye. He's one of my defensive correspondents. I trust what he do. That's why you're on this show, you know what I mean? And I'm Voch Lombardi, man. Check out my last few videos. Check out everything I'm doing. And VOCHLOMBARDI. Y'all hold it down for the Doski Woski, the Peasky Whiskey. Till next time, man. Peace.
Peace.